before, but first he went on board the Troll's ship, and took a great quantity of gold and silver and other precious things, and out of these he once more gave to the kitchen maid a whole armful of gold and silver hoops. No sooner did Ritter Red see that all danger was over than he crept down from the tree, and threatened the King's daughter till he made her promise to say that he had rescued her. Then he conducted her back to the King's palace, and if honor enough had not been done to him before, it was certainly done now, for the King had no other thought than how to make much of the man who had saved his daughter from the 3 Trolls, and it was settled then that Ritter Red should marry her and receive half the kingdom. On the wedding day, however, the Princess begged that she might have the little boy who was in the kitchen and carried wood and water for the kitchen maid to fill the wine cups at the wedding feast. "Oh, what can you want with that dirty, ragged boy in here?" said Ritter Red. But the Princess said that she insisted on having him as cupbearer and would have no one else. And at last she got leave, and then everything was done as had been agreed upon between the Princess and Minnikin. He spilt a drop on Ritter Red's plate, but none upon hers, and each time that he did it, Ritter Red fell into a rage and struck him. At the first blow all the ragged garments which he had worn in the kitchen fell off Minnikin, and at the second blow the brass garments fell off, and at the third the silver raiment, and there he stood in the golden raiment, which was so bright and splendid that light flashed from it. Then the King's daughter said, "Shame on you thus to spite the beloved of my heart. It is he who delivered me from the Troll, and he is the one whom I will have." Ritter Red swore that he was the man who had saved her, but the King said, "He who delivered my daughter must have some token in proof of it." So Ritter Red ran off at once for his handkerchief with the lungs and tongue, and Minnikin went and brought all the gold and silver and precious things which he had taken out of the Troll's ships, and they each of them laid these tokens before the King. "He who has such precious things in gold and silver and diamonds," said the King, "must be the one who killed the Troll, for such things are not to be had anywhere else." So Ritter Red was thrown into the snake pit, and Minnikin was to have the Princess and half the kingdom. One day the King went out walking with Minnikin, and Minnikin asked him if he had never had any other children. "Yes," said the King, "I had another daughter, but the Troll carried her away, because there was no one who could deliver her. You are going to have one daughter of mine, but if you can set free the other, who has been taken by the Troll, you shall willingly have her too, and the other half of the kingdom as well." "I may as well make the attempt," said Minnikin, "but I must have an iron rope which is 500 ells long, and then I must have 500 men with me, and provisions for 5 weeks, for I have a long voyage before me." So the King said he should have these things, but the King was afraid that he had no ship large enough to carry them all. "But I have a ship of my own," said Minnikin, and he took the one which the old woman had given him out of his pocket. The King laughed at him and thought it was only one of his jokes, but Minnikin begged him just to give him what he had asked for, and then he should see something. Then all that Minnikin had asked for was brought. At first he ordered them to lay the cable in the ship, but there was no one who was able to lift it, and there was only room for 1 or 2 men at a time in the little bit of a ship. Then Minnikin himself took hold of the cable and laid 1 or 2 links of it into the ship, and as he threw the links into it the ship grew bigger and bigger, and at last it was so large that the cable and the 500 men and provisions and Minnikin himself had room enough. "Now go over fresh water and salt water, over hill and dale, and do not stop until thou comest to where the king's daughter is," said Minnikin to the ship, and off it went in a moment over land and water, till the wind whistled and moaned all round about it. When they sailed thus a long, long way, the ship stopped short in the middle of the sea. "Ah, now we have got there," said Minnikin, "but how we are to get back again is a very different thing." Then he took the cable and tied one end of it round his body. "Now I must go to the bottom," he said, "but when I give a good jerk to the cable and want to come up again, you must all pull like one man, or there will be an end of all life both for you and for me." So saying, he sprang into the water, and yellow bubbles rose up all around him. He sank lower and lower, and at last he came to the bottom. There he saw a large hill with a door in it, and in he went. When he had got inside, he found the other princess sitting sewing. But when she saw Minnikin, she clapped her hands. "Ah, heaven be praised!" she cried. "I have not seen a Christian man since I came here." "I have come for you," said Minnikin. "Alas, you will not be able to get me," said the king's daughter. "It is no use even to think that. If the Troll catches sight of you, he will take your life." "You had better tell me about him," said Minnikin. "Where is he gone? It would be amusing to see him." So the king's daughter told Minnikin that the Troll was out, trying to get hold of someone who could brew 100 lasts of malt at one brewing, for there was to be a feast at the Troll's, at which less than that would not be drunk. "I can do that," said Minnikin. "Ah, if only the Troll were not so quick-tempered I might have told him that," answered the Princess. "But he is so ill-natured that he will tear you to pieces, I fear, as soon as he comes in. But I will try to find some way of doing it. Can you hide yourself here in the cupboard, and then we will see what happens." Minnikin did this, and almost before he had crept into the cupboard and hidden himself, came the Troll. "Huff! What a smell of Christian man's blood!" said the Troll. "Yes, a bird flew over the roof with a Christian man's bone in his bill, and let it fall down our chimney," answered the Princess. "I made haste enough to get it away again, but it must be that which smells so, notwithstanding." "Yes, it must be that," said the Troll. Then the Princess asked if he had got hold of anyone who could brew 100 lasts of malt at one brewing. "No, there is no one who can do it," said the Troll. "A short time since there was a man here who said he could do it," said the king's daughter. "How clever you always are," said the Troll. "How could you let him get away? You must have known that I was just wanting a man of that kind." "Well, but I did not let him go after all," said the Princess. "But father is so quick-tempered, so I hid him in the cupboard. But if father has not found anyone then, the man is still here." "Let him come in," said the Troll. When Minnikin came, the Troll asked if it were true that he could brew 100 lasts of malt at one brewing. "Yes," said Minnikin, "it is." "It is well, then, that I have lighted on thee," said the Troll. "Fall to work this very minute, but heaven help thee if thou dost not brew the ale strong." "Oh, it shall taste well," said Minnikin, and at once set himself to work to brew. "But I must have more Trolls to help carry what is wanted," said Minnikin. "These that I have are good for nothing." So he got more, and so many that there was a swarm of them, and the brewing went on. When the sweet wort was ready they were all, as a matter of course, anxious to taste it. First the Troll himself, and then the others. But Minnikin had brewed the wort so strong that they all fell down dead like so many flies as soon as they had drunk any of it. At last there was no one but one wretched old hag who was lying behind the stove. "Oh, poor old creature," said Minnikin, "you shall have a taste of the old wort too, like the rest." So he went away and scooped up a little from the bottom of the brewing vat in a milk pan, and gave it to her, and then he was quit of the whole of them. While Minnikin was now standing there looking about him, he cast his eye on a large chest. This he took and filled it with gold and silver, and then he tied the cable round